7:43 with Mark Ed and Sergeant Sam on Austin's Morning News on KLBJ. Joining us now is attorney Bryan Carney representing Cedric Benson. Thanks, Bryan, for joining us on KLBJ. How are you, sir?
Great. How are y'all this morning?
Doing well, thank you.
Bryan, after talking to Cedric and after hearing what he said about this arrest Saturday night, was this a justifiable arrest, and your thoughts on this case?
I think the Lower Colorado River Authority jumped to conclusions that were inaccurate and arrested him for something that he's not guilty of.
Now, was he operating a boat or was it sitting dead in the water?
It was in the water.
It was not on, it was not moving?
Nope.
Was not moving at all.
I mean, with the tide potentially, but it wasn't. My understanding is the engines were not on.
Well, how in the world do you arrest somebody for BWI when the boat's not moving?
Well, and the other thing is, when do you do the sobriety test in the water?
Well, you know, as a defense attorney, they can do the eye test, with a flashlight.
Supposed to do it in the water. You're supposed to have them on shore for 20 minutes before they do that.
Right.
So you're saying they violated their own procedures in how they handled this?
I don't know if they have any procedures. As you know, everybody in Austin area knows the Lower Colorado River Authority is not exactly the most pristine law enforcement agency to do anything.
What do you mean by that, Bryan?
Well, I think that everybody who's operated a boat out there knows that they're a little overzealous, that their procedures are not as refined as the DPS, the Austin City Police, the Sheriff's Office, and that traditionally the way they handle some of their cases is not as good as other agencies.
Well, I definitely have a problem if he's the owner of the boat was dead in the water. How in the world are they going to prove that he was intoxicated at the time the boat was operable?
Well, the other thing is, one other issue is why would you take him off in the dark on another boat to perform the sobriety test? Why not just take him to shore?
Well, what time did this happen, Bryan?
It was after dark, so I'd say around 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock, just after dark.
All right. So you're questioning why they removed him from his boat to the LCRA boat to do the test?
Correct. Why not just take him to shore if you think that's an issue?
Bryan, were there other boats in the immediate area when they came up on Cedric's boat?
Yes.
How many do you know, Bryan?
I don't know. I know that it was over by Devil's Cove over there, so there were several boats.
He tells a Chicago TV station this is the second time he's had the boat out this spring and the second time he's been approached by law enforcement. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Does this sound like you black while boating?
I don't know if you can characterize it as a race issue, but I think it's naive to think they don't know who he is.
Did Cedric say that he was drinking on that boat?
No.
Does he acknowledge that he had any drinks at all?
No. Now here's the other thing is too, as you all know, it's not illegal to have a drink and be on the boat. It's not illegal to have an open container on the boat, which there were none. But it's illegal to be intoxicated and operating the boat, which is not the case.
He tells the Chicago TV station there was alcohol on board his boat, but he was not drunk.
That's right.
And you're saying he didn't even have anything to drink that night.
I don't know if he didn't have anything to drink. I don't know if that's a fair thing to say and over the course of the entire evening, but he wasn't intoxicated, and the open containers that were there, there was other passengers on there that had something to drink.
I still don't understand the fact that, how they made a BWI case against him when they bound to have seen him operate the boat. Now, I know on the streets, if you find somebody passed out behind the wheel, you can make DWI.
Sure, and the car's running and the keys are in the ignition and they're asleep behind the wheel.
Right. But that doesn't sound – if this thing was dead in the water, anchored, they don't have a case. Well,
here's the other issue is we have they charge him with resisting arrest and resisting transportation. We're totally those are absolute overcharges. They they hauled him off the boat and into their boat into the dark, and the other passengers hear him yelling help, help, help. That's not exactly your resisting arrest. Where are you going to go, jump in the lake?
That's when they pepper sprayed him?
Yeah.
I thought they pepper.
Was it on the LCRA boat when they pepper sprayed him, or on his boat?
No, on the LCRA boat.
On the LCRA boat.
And then there was an allegation Cedric made about getting water in the face. It sounded like waterboarding or something.
No, that was washing the pepper spray out. That's what that's all about.
Well, I think that's what they're supposed to do, but generally you don't kick your feet from underneath you and lay you backwards with your handcuffed to take water on your face.
Brian, was he injured in any way in all of this?
Potentially he was. I mean, he's got, I think that the issue of being handcuffed and dropped on your back, that doesn't really help you. I mean, he's a big guy and he will be okay, I think. But I think that the issue is why are these guys doing this to someone? Why are they doing it to anybody else in the public, much less this guy?
What's your next step, Brian? Cedric hinted in the Chicago media that he may sue.
Well, there's always that option. I think that before you can make that decision, you have to evaluate what kind of case you have. And, of course, we don't have the reports yet. We don't have a lot of the information that's necessary to evaluate what we need to do.
Brian, thank you for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a nice morning.
All right, you
Bye-bye.
too. That's Bryan Carney. He is the attorney representing Cedric Benson.